hypertext markup language. So the markup language means that we just have to mark things, and then the browser we look for the meaning based on the mark. You see. So
Mm-hmm.
then by hypertext is also the fact that it can link it. So we can also be linking those documents together. That's why on Facebook you can click on profile. You can on a you could do home about and stuff like that. So with that,
Mm-hmm.
uh, we can now look at let's say we want to do something like this where we have lorem ipsum and then we have some text here and then we have this other one, right? This could as well be, it could be a resume that you're making, it could be Facebook app, it could be Netflix, but it's the same thing, but we'll do the simplest. So you just have to mark it up. So when we look at this, do you notice?
You lost sound.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello?
You
Yeah,
said you were
okay.
saying when
Sorry
you look
about
at
that.
this, do you notice?
Yes, do you notice anything? So think of it in terms of design and facilitating. How can you really describe this to someone? What stands out? What are like what does it look like and stuff like that?
Are you talking about on your
Yes, this one where you have lorem ipsum.
on the browser?
Where you have lorem ipsum. This one.
Okay.
That page.
Hmm.
This page.
You want to know what stands out on it?
Yeah. Some
So there is a title,
can
right?
you
There is a,
identify those?
of course, there is. Again, if we're just looking from learn
Exactly.
some down without the images, there is a title, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which there is a title, some subtext before the text itself, and in
Yes,
different paragraphs.
exactly. Yes, exactly. And then paragraphs. Yeah, nice. So I like the words you use. So and that's why it's good as you already have that vocabulary because this is thing. Just tell the computer that, right? Like you can tell it that you need paragraphs here, you need headers here. You see what I mean? So let's try to copy. Let's
Mhm.
start from here. So we'll take this. Maybe we will not use the font. We'll do something else. So you said we had the title. So in HTML, this
Yep.
language, you create titles with what they call headers.
Mhm.
And the headers, there are 6 types. So you do the detail later, right? Remember, I'm just running the essentials and fundamentals,
Yep.
fun deep dive.
Mhm.
So with tag, the headers have the tag H for header, and then based on how big we want it, you see the number like H1, H2,
Yep.
H3, H4. So let's do
Yep.
H1 for example, and then we put this Lorem ipsum. See if I can open. I think I had this thing somewhere. Can I open Chrome from here? Chrome not found. 1 second. So, but do you get the gist already? Like you
Yeah,
see,
I get it. Yeah, so I'm following. If
yeah,
we're reproducing that right, again, we're starting with the HTML, and
uh,
we have the index.html, and
yeah,
now
the file,
putting in the header, we have the
hmm
opportunity to determine the size of the header and what. So it's more. Now this will entail, again, this is fundamentals, right? This will entail
yeah,
going back now and studying, like, okay, the size of H1,
uh,
like if you want to do a header, you enter that. And does it always come up
yes.
with everybody? You see how you typed in H1 and it just gave you, what did you
Mhm.
type before it gave you H1? And it just showed you everything. So for somebody who
I
is
just did
not
H.
H, and it
No,
brought up
that's
everything.
yes, that's that's a feature of the IDE. So different IDEs have it. They call it
It have
IntelliSense.
different one. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
they call it IntelliSense. So it's just if you're using like Notepad or something, it may not be so.
Yep.
It
Okay.
doesn't
No,
have
that's
that.
good. I just wanted to point
Again,
that out.
again, is a computer. It's been taught how to do that. Just like what we're
Mhm.
doing. So you see, I
Yep.
put this H1 and it gave me Lorem ipsum. Yeah,
Yep.
in the browser. So I open this file in the browser. Normally, if you can create the file anywhere, but make sure you save it as .html. If you're in Windows, make sure that you're look at the file type when you're saving it and make sure it's HTML. You see,
Mm-hmm.
so Yeah, so you see, we give the header lorem ipsum, right?
Yep.
And then what else is there? We have this other text, the subtitle.
Mm-hmm.
So let's put that here. What can we even make this one? It's size, right? Do is jump ahead a
It's
little
it.
bit. So
Mm-hmm.
now when you're doing also think of this like formatting documents. Like when you
Mm-hmm.
in Microsoft, one of the best ways Microsoft Word is to put text in like text boxes, right? Because you can carry that box
Box
around.
and put
You can
somewhere
give it
else. Yeah.
borders. So there's a tag. So remember hypertext markup language. So information, like I told you. So there's a tag called
Mm-hmm.
division, but its short form is called div. You see, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like that text box in Microsoft Word, but this is the language. This is how you tell the computer how to do that. So we can put this in a div, and I'll tell you why we're doing that later. Because first it's italicized on the page, so you see. So if I save that and then I come back to a page and reload it, you see we've added that there, right? And then the next thing
Mm-hmm.
we have this line. There are many ways we can do that. There's one tag called HR for horizontal rule that you can use, and it gives us a line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we now have these paragraphs. So we can come now and do paragraph one. We can still put it in a box. I can still create a box. And I'm just showing you how to organize things. So we'll get to that later.
Yep.
And then I put the paragraph in that box. So this is the first paragraph. So if we come reload, we have the first paragraph. And then let's do like 3 paragraphs. So
Mm-hmm.
So you see, this is it. So when your developers take requirements, normally they could be more sophisticated, and we'll get to that part. They could be more sophisticated tasks, and you can, as a developer, too. The advantage is all your job will be to be building some of these tasks. For example, the browser what user is. So what Facebook, instead of Facebook has to teach the browser about what the profile is. You can as well just create a new tag, right? That you give it the appropriate data, and then you see what I mean. So let's copy the
Yep.
last one. And then we have another paragraph. This. Okay. So now if we do this, we are done. So you see how it's appeared?
Yep.
Yes, but
After.
everything is just so, it's just a kind of
And this
made
is
up.
still at the level of HTML, right?
Yes, this is HTML, yeah. So we've used HTML. This is how simple it is. So you know that the only thing you needed to know so far is that you need to create a file with the extension that the browser can know that that's HTML, because that's what the interpreter uses. It's like when you tell
Mm-hmm.
someone hello, they say hi. If they're speaking Chinese, they don't know what hello means, they may not reply. So the browser
Mm-hmm.
uses these extensions to know what language it's dealing with, and then the language itself. So generally, the language has its alphabet. You can say it's alphabet of these tags, right? Like H1. So once you understand editing, like remember we use knowledge from Microsoft Word. You yourself could recognize there were paragraphs, there was a title. That's the same language. You just have to look for the tools that the language gives you to translate that. So you've none of headers, you've none of divs, the HR rule. So, and this thing, this is all you need. Just have the concept. So when sometimes now, if you have a task, you just have to go do research to know what tag relates to what you want. You want to play a video file, what tag? You understand what I mean?
Yep.
You want to take input from the user, what tag? So that's it.
Totally.
So now let's look at the
Mm.
attributes. So again, we spoke about societies, how they're structured. So whenever you're dealing with structure and things, behavior, you always, there's something that comes up. You know that something is something. When we spoke of a family, you belong to a family because of blood or
Blood.
something,
Yeah.
membership. Yeah. So now you see that things start having properties. And when I say property, I don't mean a land or fufu. I just mean it's abstract, right? Property is just a it could be a data property and the
Yep.
rest. So
Different
things are
types of the thing.
properties, yeah, or tangible things, and then they have behavior too. So now these tags that you see, they're able to have what the properties, and they call those properties attributes. Just like a human being has attributes, right? Like hands. So you can give these tags attributes. So now we can do CSS and round it up because we already have the page and you see it, right?
Yep.
So now let's use CSS to be able to make this look good. So
Yep.
now, first, as these things are like this, it's just general. We have an H1, we have a div, we have paragraphs. That's it. Even when we link CSS, things will be a bit, yeah. So now we can start giving them attributes. Some of those attributes can make them be unique. Some of those attributes can make them belong to a class or a family. So you see where that taxonomy comes. So once you understand that kind of way of reasoning, then you can start creating taxonomy. So one of them is to create what they call a class. A class is like a group, like class one, right? You could have like a million students there. So when I say group, we can call this subtitle. So let's just create a class called subtitle. Let's give this guy another attribute of a class. So you have
title.
yeah, so you could give it a class, let's say main title. So and then this one, let's say paragraph. Let's say main parak. So yeah, that's that. And then this horizontal row is fine. So now if we come and look at the page, nothing will change. You know why? Because we just added attributes. So it's just see what it is. We didn't add like anything that will affect how
Definition. Yeah.
So now what is the use of these attributes? So these attributes help too in interactions. Because the same way, if you had this file, imagine I wasn't sharing my screen, we're speaking on WhatsApp, and then I could easily tell you, hey, so babes, look at the main title, the class main title. You just look at the file and know this is what I'm talking about. So one of the use of this. So wherever, and this same class, I could put it in different things. Since it's a class now, it's like tag. It's a tag language. Imagine if you have 1 million from one student. No, if you just slap some tag for any man forehead, say 111. When you see all my way, get one using it for one man that.
Yep.
Yeah. So you see how normal organization we're doing in real life, how we're using it as developers. Then if you want something to be unique, you can give it what they call an ID. So like this one, it could have an ID to, I could call it main title again. All right. And this ID now means it's just this guy. Like when you're in Form 1 or you're in university, you have your student number that is unique to you. Or your social security number.
For you.
Yes, your ID number, passport number. So you can also give these things your own IDs and uniqueness and stuff. So that's to make sure that when, just like I said, I could talk to you and I tell you, look for the thing with the ID main title, you know what I'm talking about. Normally with class, you know that there could be many classes, but when I say ID, you know, it's in a one man get up. So you see the essence, and you see the linguistics, how it comes into everything. So now, not just can I communicate with you, I can use it to communicate with other languages. You see, so with CSS, I can tell CSS now that look for that man with in fact, let's do that. So with CSS, there are many ways we could add CSS to HTML. So we could use another tag called style, right? And then we'll put that style there. So for example, let's make that ID. So now in CSS, the way it works is if I put a pound sign and I put this a word, it knows that it's an ID in that document. So
it's looking for it. It's communicating. It's looking and it sees that the HTML had identified that main title.
Exactly. Yes. So if you come now and reload, you see the color changed to red because I told it that go take this ID, look for the thing that has main titles. If I put the pound sign, it means it has an ID. And then I said make the color red. You see. So for this one, it was centered. So now this is where those boxes come in play. Let me do one thing real quick. So I'll create another box and I'll call it actually I should have called it the main title. Let me call this box the main title then, so that you see. So let me call this box. Can I type? What's happening? Yeah. So let me call this box main title instead, and then I put this guy inside, and then I take out this class. So you see why. So that's because, like, when I put things in boxes, this is where the carpentry stuff now start coming. So quick question. Normally with CSS, if I create a file, I can create a file here called style.css, and then I put my CSS there. So do you want us to do this approach, or just continue and put it directly in this file? So the main difference is for
So, which
organization.
means, Mhm,
Mhm. So if I put the styles
mhm.
in the styles file, then I know that when I'm in the styles file, I'm focusing only on styles, right? And that's for organization. Those are very arranged, and so they do it in then Jaga Jaga men, and the video can drop style inside your JavaScript. You just mix all together inside one file.
Yeah, that makes sense. Again, I believe if you ask me for starters, for
Mm,
anybody watching this that is starter, they want
mm,
to, I would think, again, putting it separately, it's good, as you say, for organizational purposes, right?
uh,
But I think for an introductory thing, it's okay to like just
okay.
show, to
Yeah,
have
just
it in
make
one. Yeah, and
okay.
just add the CSS onto the HTML.
Got it. Then maybe at the end we can link it so they see, because that's what you
Yes.
can do. So yeah. So now the reason I spoke about these boxes is that we can easily start using them. So now let's you see how we use it. So let's take this main title. In CSS, when you do dot,
Mm-hmm.
it means you're dealing with a class, right? So let's say main
Mm-hmm.
title, and then let me give it a border. Let me give it a black border. So you see how this is the box. This is a box, right? This
Mm-hmm.
that box. Before the border was invisible, so but I gave it a border. So now let me also start with this. So I'm taking the body of the document. I want to make it full screen. So I'll do 100%. You see why I'm doing that. I'll explain this later. There's a glitch. There's a width. There's a so this is just the craft there, little by little. It's
Mm-hmm.
just how, yeah. So it's like, you see how we're typing. If you had like speech to text recognition, if you can talk to your computer, dictate, you can do that too, right? So you see how
Mm-hmm.
you can talk to the computer. So let
Yep.
me with
Makes sense.
100%. So I want to make that box bigger, right? And then uh I want to affect its display. So there's something called flex. So display means I want to make this container flexible so that I can readjust the space, make things happen the way
Mm-hmm.
I want. And then one thing is I can position things. So I could say justify content, just like you do on Microsoft Word. So I can say justify content. I want it centered. So you see how I put that guy at the center. Then if I want
Mm-hmm.
it to be centered to vertically, I'll say align items. Um, Standard too. So we have like it's centered both horizontally and vertically, right? So you see how we have the first part, that first part.
Mm-hmm.
So now, and we just need to leave the column so I can comment that out. So the box. So do you now understand why I did the box?
So the
So,
box,
mhm,
how do you added that box by adding
a div. So if you
adding the
come
div
here,
thing, right? So
yeah, a
it
division.
put everything
Mhm.
in one box.
Yes. So that now I can use that box to arrange space. So it's like you want to build a house, you build your house in a compound now. It's the thing about
Mm-hmm.
box as a compound. That's what they call division. So the thing is, once you have that compound, you can start positioning the things inside. So if I didn't have this class, I just had this guy sitting in the big, like, let's say sitting in Maryland. Where is Maryland? It's hard to identify the person and then start centralizing and the rest. So you
Mm-hmm.
see, it's easy to have a reference point. If normally I could make it centered, but I'll be making it centered relative to the rest of the page. But if I put it in a box, I can make that box to be as
You can
wide
manage
as
the
the
box
page.
itself.
Yes, and then I can take the thing and drop it at any location in the box. So let's say we wanted to put it at the right, right? So let's say we want to do is it right? I think it's end. Let's say we wanted to do it here. You see, it goes to the end. If we wanted to do it at the start, we'll put it to at the start. So it's easy because I'm just telling that box that whatever is inside of you, 50 to the end. Yes, 50 to the So now we wanted it at the center. So you see, it's just about understanding how things are happening and then telling the computer.
Yep.
And yes, so that's that. And then I showed you the box because those are some tricks of the crafts. So now I can adjust the height of the box. I give you the width. Let me make the height like let's say 30, 40 pixels. Make the height like 40 pixels. You see, it's smaller. And then I give it a border just so you should see that it's a box. If I didn't put the border there, you're not even know. So
but it will still work. So even without the border, it will still work as a box, but you're not seeing the borders,
the
right?
border, yeah. It's just like if you be a house of stone, last paint and be your great. Your cement house, or you can as well paint it and stuff like that. So then we had the next one, this Lorem Ipsum. So we can use the same technique. So you see why it was good to put in a box. So we can do a subtitle text, right? So that's a subtitle.
So class subtitle.
Yes. So that also we want to make it to be as big as the page. We can give it a border to just so we see. So when you remember when they're developing, right, you don't put plank there now. On like when they're building. Have you ever seen that? Like, they call it scaffolding, story building, especially in Cameroon. You see the wood that they put to support it. Yes, you call it scaffolding. So when you're developing, you see we're using the scaffolding as a border so that we can see. I can know where the border is, and then I go take it out later. So you see, I give this guy a blue border, and we made it big too. So first, let's reduce the font size of this guy. So I want to make it about 9 pixels. And if I reload, so you see it became smaller. Then it was italicized, right? So let's make it I think it should be font decoration, font weight, or font style. So we have changed the font style, right? And then let's do what is left. One thing should be left. Oh, it should be at the middle of that page too.
Yes, so it's centralized as well.
Yes, right. So display. So then we want to handle the display. So we'll do display flex, and then we'll do justify content center. And so you see it's stretched to fill in the whole box. So we have to looking for a way to fix it. So that means maybe we should make it a bit taller. Yeah, so let's say like 200 pixels.
You'll give it another line.
That'll be long. Yeah, down plenty. We'll do like 50. We'll do that times 5. Let's do like 70 pixels. So and then let's align the content to align items center. And then give it a padding. So you see that when you buy television now, you see that they used to put those white things by the corner.
The film.
So that's like a padding, right? So you see.
Okay, yeah, so it's depending.
Yes, so I give you the padding. So I just use a shortcut. Like this 0 means top and bottom. So if you think of this box as a carton that you went and bought your PlayStation, they used to put those white paddings at the corner. So I've put the padding top, bottom 0, and then left and right I've put like padding of 30 pixels. I did 30%, so you just take 30% of that page. But let's do let's say 26 pixels. Let's use pixels. So you see, then we can take the border out, and if we do that, we're almost there, right? So, and then yeah, but what do you think so far?
Yeah, again, I love that you can do it. Again, I've tried stuff like
Mhm.
this and just being able to do it and learn. I think this is a great way to learn it. As
Mhm.
let's say you're earlier today, we're talking about this W3 schools online thing. If you
Mhm.
have that kind of material, because the reason you are going through this because you understand what if you want to change the fund, you have to
Yeah,
enter fund and enter that. You know
yeah.
that in order to measure this, you measure in pixels. You know that here you enter the
Mhm.
color blue. So I think that it's a great way as you're
Mhm.
doing this to have it like and they actually see what is happening. I think that that's what sticks, right?
Yes, right.
That
Yeah, once you get
that's
all of this, once you get
yep.
all of this, following that tutorial, you know what's happening. So I just changed
You
I
change
changed
the font
yeah,
type.
yes, font. They call it font family. So normally we call it font type in Microsoft Word, but
Font
when you're
family.
telling the browser,
Yep.
yeah, so it's a font family. I give it a couple,
Font
so if they
family.
space, if they fail, so that changed that
Mm-hmm.
guy. So then the
Yep.
next one, and now this is where. So the last part is this paragraphs, right?
Yeah.
So and this is where you also see the power of these boxes. Remember when I said main paragraph? So
Yep.
now
Sure.
let's style it. So now that was a class, right? So it would be dot main parak. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
main parak. And then let's start with the font size. So let's make it smaller. So let's say everything in that box given 9 pixels.
Mm-hmm.
And when we go there, you see. So then another nice thing is once you have this, think of this div as a compound, a Cartier. So you could always say in English now,
Mm-hmm.
especially like us boys, you say, "Want to go visit all the girl and with that compound." You see what I mean? I go visit so babes, so I go visit. You know what I'm saying? So now with this, it also helps you because now we can say, okay, we want to see the main part, the paragraphs inside of this compound.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can come here and say, okay,
And
we have
we had put all those paragraphs in the main paragraph. Is that what we
yes,
did?
exactly. So that's one trick I was trying to show you that
Mm-hmm.
like the same way that like a carpenter will have like this backrest, right? They have
Mm-hmm.
different components inside now. Like it could be that there are 3 sticks, or if you see cane chair, you see all that. So you can always say, I want that stick then, that bamboo they really didn't have that backrest. So one
Yep.
advantage of putting things inside of like these classes or this tagging them like this is that if you start talk like how you talk now, say okay, I want all paragraph the way the inside main parag.
Okay, that's
This
good.
so
So
yeah,
again, quick question on that by the bottom there. So
yeah,
what you did class, and within that class, you put the
yes,
main paragraph.
yes,
That main paragraph now holds all the other mini paragraphs that
exactly.
are within the document. Correct.
Yes. So there are many ways to say it. You start by saying it's a div, but they can ask you
It's a
what's a
bit.
div. It's not specific.
Mm-hmm.
Then you say, okay, I want to put it in a class. That div, that particular div has a class, or it belongs to
Yes.
the class or kingdom, phylum, main
Mm-hmm.
parag. And now, since we have paragraphs inside, that helps us organizational purposes. It's like having a department at work. You
Mm-hmm.
see, so they can say, okay, I want all the front end developers for this for information security team. So the same way we can come here now, and so you can see this as selection, right? So when we
Mm-hmm.
say main, so in terms of SQL, so you see how all those things you do for SQL, like where you go select queries and you're
Yep.
querying here, but it's on this page and the browser understands.
Mm-hmm.
So now
So the
we
moment I come in and I say dot main parag, whatever I'm doing there is
yes,
reflecting on all of those at
exactly. No, I know at different
the
levels
bottom
depending
there.
on how you want to say it. So now, if we want, now we're looking just at
Okay.
main Barak as it is. So some of its
Mm-hmm.
properties will affect its children. Like we said, oh, the font size of everything in main Barak should be 9 pixels. So that way we don't have to be going to each paragraph. So some of its properties, then
Yes.
when we say like border, again, 1px solid, let's do this one, right? You see that we're affecting just the main Barak, its boundaries.
Yeah.
It's
So
boundary. Mhm.
could you do still within the main parag class, but make a change that affects only the first paragraph?
Yes, we can do
Okay.
that. Yes.
Okay.
So now, first let's start by saying, start by taking all the paragraphs. So we'll say when we do main paragraph and we do something like this P. So you're saying that the P inside of the main paragraph, right? So let's do this. Let's
All
see.
right.
So that says all of those. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So now, what do you think again about all of this?
Yeah. Oh, it's good. I love that I'm seeing the difference again. I mean, I'm having my fun, enjoying it. I hope that another person watching this will be inspired to
So let's do what
and
you
actually try
asked.
this.
So let's do what you asked. You want just the first, right? So we can do first child. So you see first child. So this is what they call pseudo classes. So you have a class in a class now for 1A, for 1B, for 1C. So
So we're looking at the main class, which is a main paragraph, and we are calling the first child, which is the first paragraph in that main paragraph class.
So you see, on Monday, black will be the
Black
first one.
line, only the first one be red.
Yes.
Yep.
I think we can even do like, so is it like how you do from 1A, from 1B? Don't forget the tag for even. But let's do last child. And you see?
Yeah. Now last child is right. Okay.
I think one thing we can do, there's something called nth child. Yeah, so let's
which is also the last child, right?
No, nth is abstract. Like if you have n things now, n could be 10. So now it's n child. Let's say 2 and see what we have. So normally, I think if there were 4, yes. So wait, let me add another paragraph just so that we can be sure. So now we had 3 paragraphs. Let me add 4 so that you see what I mean by that. So if we add 4, okay. So that's just the child. I want so that's another way. So for example, if you know that you saw last child, but now have a number then for me, don't know. You see what I mean?
So you the same way you went
that n child.
You have that option to go first child, second child, third child, fourth child.
Exactly. Yes. That's, like kinder now.
And then you say
so you see n child, so we do 3.
So instead of typing first, second, you can do nth child 3. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. You don't actually have first, second, third, because the thing is that how would the computer know that there's a third child? But you can always know that there is a first thing, there is a last thing.
Last thing.
If there is nothing, then no first, no day, no last, no day. If there's just one, there's only first. So you can say, oh, if there's only first, there's no last day. That's how developers think. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So then they give you now nth child so that you can have third, fourth, fifth.
Yeah,
so
unlimited, then you put okay.
Yes. And that's also the linguistic part of it, where you develop it in a way that is efficient and it has
scalable too.
Yes.
Very scalable.
So what else? Let's do for this main paragraph. Let's just give it a padding. We can give it like 11 pixels all around, so that you can have some space like that. You see.
Yep.
So, but that's for each paragraph. So it's taking each paragraph, and now if we give it a border, you see. So if we give it a border of 1px solid yellow, no mind the color, the way it be done. Yes.
That's fine.
So you see.
So he's gonna do.
Let me do brown. So you see, each paragraph now has
a border of its own.
Yes. So, but actually, let's take out the padding first, so that you see. Remember, padding is like the thing you put inside of the carton.
So like
we use an air or now, whether we use now wait, I don't know, but we use now not.
Use space.
So now you see, it's back. So But we can put this padding here instead. Let's put the padding as a property of the main paragraph. And if we do that, so we want the spacing just inside of the paragraph. So you see, you want to give it but this, then that. So so then we can take out the scaffolding and this one, and we can also take out this nth child. That was just for demo. And refresh. We have a page that looks like what we saw here. You see, we can make it better by exploring the different properties. So like the last thing that, like promised, we can then just take this style out and put it then in its own file, so that when we are in HTML, we're just dealing with HTML. Inside of it, we don't need the style tag. We'll just paste it there. See, I don't have a formatter yet. So then the next part, so if we come back, watch what happens. If we come back and reload the page, bam, all our work don't go. Do you know why?
Yeah, all the styling is gone.
Why?
CSS is gone.
Why?
Oh, because they're not connected.
Okay, nice. So then
you removed it from you need them to talk to each other, right?
Yes. So then we can come and link it. So normally we'll conclude now by the general structure of an HTML file. So normally the HTML file will always have its main tag, which is called HTML, and then you can always give it a, let's start back. So we can give it a type HTML5. So you see HTML, that's the main tag. It's like a folder. Sorry, here HTML. This is the head, and this is where we put like title. So what was the title of this show? Fun Dive. Okay, I've seen it.
Fun Dive
Web Development Basics, right? Okay. So if we reload, you see the title has changed. Yeah, because of this head part, I came and put the title. So that's the head. So you see how this HTML actually is like you are grabbing the browser, right?
Yeah,
so the head, we're dealing with this head part. This is the head now. And then in the head too, we want to link. So sometimes it's good to link the CSS here. And we just do this. So this now is like Unix. So when I do a dot, it means in this same folder that I'm in. And then you do / styles of CSS. So what that tells the browser is that link something, the relationship of this thing is a style sheet. And href is for hypertext reference, something like that. Where is it? So I'm saying in this same folder that I'm inside, because this HTML is inside of us. When I do dot, that is inside, yeah. Then you do / now, and then the file. And if we save it and reload, bam, our CSS is back.
Okay.
So the rest now is in just the sophistication. It could be a more sophisticated program like Facebook, Google, Twitter, and the rest. There will be more processes, but this is the fundamentals. So you just need to learn more. Yeah, so we can have other shows to dive deeper into particular things. Maybe we can decide on build Facebook login page on one, build profile page. You want anything you want to build it.
That's interesting. I love this. And again, as I said, this is something that I started doing. I thought of, hey, I want a refresher on this, right? And I'm happy that you created a time for this. I'm definitely going to come back, watch this, and try my own build. Maybe even record how I'm going through mine as well.
Okay, that would be nice.
Yes.
So I can share this with you later, these files. So just a quick recap. So HTML itself, when the browser sees this file and we have opened the file, the browser starts following it to receive instructions. So first, we're telling it that the head part, change the title into Fun Dive. That's what you see here. That's the title. And then the header part, think of it like the header of a letter. That's where you used to put greetings, references to past things, and the rest. That's where you set up. So we put the reference to our style sheet there. And the reason we used to put it here too is so that when the browser is setting this up, it already loads the style sheet before it goes down to that.
It down,
Yes. So that my page no war first, then it can find after. So then you have the body section, and that's where we put our content. And then we close it. So you see how the shape of these tags is like you have this angular bracket open, then you close it. So the same with this HTML body. These are all tags. So learning the language is just about knowing what this do. So now you can go to W3 Schools, read a particular tag, and type the tutorial, and you'll be good because you have the fundamentals.
That's good. And we can go further with this another time. But again, we've seen how we started with HTML, making the definitions, such as you explained, adding the style to it with CSS, and JavaScript into this.
There is some noise that keeps some interception that keeps like I can't hear what you're saying.
Oh, really? Maybe my network is getting tired.
It's like
oh, really?
There's some alien there inside the network.
Maybe an alien there from my voice.
Okay, sorry, continue. Yeah.
No, so I was saying that we've looked at HTML style to it using CSS. And I see that when we talked about this, there was also introduction to JavaScript, right? Now, how we can bring all those three together. But yeah, that's something that we can.
Yeah, so we can so later we can expand on the JavaScript. But with this one, you see, we already have it. So from here, and mostly when the best way to me to learn this is to first of all master HTML and CSS. That's once you're able to look at anything and reproduce it, because like the work, you know that like work is mostly about you getting designs. So a graphic designer or like UX designer will do a drawing sometimes and send to you, just like the carpenter. If you draw bed now, then you look at it and recreate. So once you go through HTML, CSS, and you have understood how to use CSS to manipulate this HTML, is the same idea we'll be using in JavaScript to say, okay, get me all paragraphs, main parag, and the rest, take it, animate it, even hide it for 1 second, show it again for 2 seconds, add this CSS class after 10 seconds.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is a good start. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, this is good. So this is a good start. Okay. This is amazing. Thanks, man.
Thank you. So let me stop sharing.
So we'll see you.
Stop sharing. Yes. So that's just a bit. So you review now. So you can recap what we did and then we can call it. What do you think?
Of course. I'll definitely go through. You want me to do a recap here? Yeah, I already did when I was looking at your screen. It was easier for me. And
let me share it again.
And no, it's fine. It's fine. So looking at the whole.
No, let's share it so that those that are viewing, right? If someone was viewing, let me share again so that if someone was viewing, they would follow, isn't it? Okay, I should be sharing.
All right, give me a second. Let me add that to the screen.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so again, the whole intention here was for us to look at, to take a deep dive, right? A fun deep dive, nothing too serious and too developer-ish, the way I always describe it. Just the opportunity to just have a fun time looking at how anybody, and practically, literally anybody can actually just get in here and understand what being a web developer is, right? Just the basics of it. And I love that at the beginning, we just talked through it. We talked through the history, like on just basic understanding of what development is, what it means to you who is watching. Again, I shared it based on my own perspective, and it could be different for you if you happen to come across this, right? But what do you understand by it? We talked through the whole history and even went as deep as just understanding computers, right? Where it starts from. And Brian went ahead and described the whole binary from the looking binary. I keep forgetting that second part of this thing.
Assembly.
I love how you explained it, because we went from the 001, from the 0101, all those many. Yeah, go again. There is something before
assembly.
Yeah, the assembly. I don't know why that assembly word keeps escaping my mind. right? And we went into that, picked an example of a random text from online. One thing that I missed a little bit, Brian, and when I do mine, I'll probably ask you a question, is how you created that browser that was reflecting. I think I've done that before, but I cannot remember what I did. That's how I saw my Hello World the first time I did this, and I was so
you
happy.
just go to the file itself, like if you created it inside of my documents or the desktop, and you see since it's .html, your computer itself will show it as a web page. It's gonna read it.
Okay.
So you can just click. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, and we picked up this random text from the internet and recreated it, started with the HTML, like the details of it, like some of the tags, what they each mean, where to put the paragraphs. Again, we looked at examples, I think, like diffs, and again, bringing in paragraphs. We looked at the class, add those boxes in order to manage the different components that we have on the sheet. I think we also went into CSS, how we can style, not just have the text on there, but being able to bring in some style into what we have built with the HTML. And again, the fun part again was how we could separate the style, the CSS from the HTML, then connect it again at the end without necessarily having both the HTML and the CSS on the same sheet. I think that was beautiful to watch.
Wow.
You can actually just extract
that
CSS and then merge them again in your head, the header of your HTML. So yes, we went this far. I think it's beautiful. And my recommendation, if you're watching this, is to go to the W3 schools, pick something out of or wherever you choose to learn development, right? There's a plethora of websites out here that you can actually go to, but just practice first with the HTML and bring in the CSS before we even start thinking of looking into Java, but having a good understanding of what this, how you can get into the introduction of HTML. Brian, I think that here, why? Because I am already familiar with VS Code. We didn't code that route. I'm already familiar with VS Code, but for somebody that is not, again, I bet they can pull a console, right, from the browser, and they can still do this from their...
Yeah, or just Notepad. The most important thing is just to save the file and then be able to find where you saved it.
Okay.
Yes, the browser will open it. Yeah. So either in your desktop or So.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, but I think that it's been a beautiful. Mrs. F, I don't really learn a lot.
Yeah, just the way you explain, Mr. Vadon has learned back now.
Okay.
Like the way you explain everything, so babes. Yes, even why we took it and linked it back. I say, what is that? What we did? Like it's like I don't know if you get it. I took a step back and let you describe it, and you last teach me all it. You see what I mean? That was amazing.
Really,
Thank you.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun stuff, especially that people out here who love these things. But there is that. To one of the developers in the Salesforce space, and I always tell them that, hey, this thing is, I say that because it scares people, but at the same time, we don't want it's bread and butter. You need to put in the work, right? It is not. Right. We cannot just, as you said earlier, you're not spoon the work if you really want this thing. And if your mind is there, this thing had me past that thing where they teach me for Cameroon, where you talk about Cameroon about that thing they had me past the one. I don't know when I become a brain old, but I think that this is really fun. I love how basic it is. Sometimes I quarrel with you on how detailed you want to go to explain things, but I let you run stuff.
Let me drive today. Now.
I let your brain today work the way your brain normally work without rushing you. Yeah, and it's good because it helped me understand better, right? Sometimes we just rush in life unnecessarily. It helped me understand better because you explained it the way your brain processes things. And again, you're different. Truth be told, you're just different. Okay. But yes, this was amazing. And I'm definitely going to replicate this. I'll try to record my own session. So maybe you can encourage another person.
Oh, yes.
Do the same. And again, when I record it, I'll put it out there.
And we can create study groups. We can always have study groups, coding groups. We can even do hackathons if you want, and things like that. Like maybe you and I can challenge each other, right? Like we'll rebuild Facebook, rebuild Twitter.
I
Yes,
want to come
it's
challenge
very
you with
simple.
web.
Yes, it's very. You'll be shocked. Yeah. So all we can do it together, right? We can do it together. Like we pick, especially once you have absorbed more, absorbed a lot, and I'm
Yeah.
really inspired. So
Yes.
especially once you see, this is it. So babe. So long as again linguistics, you know how to describe what it is. It means you can
What
speak it in the language that is closest to you now,
the
right? So
computer
once
will
you know that,
understand.
there'll be a time when you look at Facebook, Twitter, you already just know. Like when you look at YouTube, you know, na say na head of this, na logo this. For yeah, they
Yeah.
get some
You
deep
can put
way. Yeah, for yeah, that's you'll be looking at web pages or apps and just how it's built. And there's a lot of beauty in that. So I hope that people can get to experience. It's an art too. So I hope that people can get to see the beauty that you can get
Yep.
just from building these
I
things.
love this. This has been good. Took quite a bit of your time this afternoon, but I really appreciate it. This has been
Same here.
amazing. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you very much. If anything, you tap me now or tap for background. So thanks very much, everyone that was listening. Thank you too. Please take your time and listen and learn.